So the General Purpose Criterion defines the scope of the Chemical Weapons Convention by defining purposes for the permitted use of chemicals under the treaty. Dr. Robinson now explains how, in the case of the Chemical Weapons Convention, the General Purpose Criterion is implemented.
It's obviously very difficult, administratively speaking, to verify compliance with the General Purpose Criterion. It's much easier to ascertain that people are not doing certain things with particular chemicals. Much harder to ascertain that they're not doing things with particular intentions or purposes in mind. What the treaty does in another part of its text, in fact in Article 6, Para 2, is to require, I quote, each state party to adopt the necessary measures to ensure that toxic chemicals and their precursors are only developed, produced, otherwise acquired, retained, transferred or used within its territory or in any other place under its jurisdiction or control for purposes not prohibited under this convention. So there is a positive obligation upon each state to ensure that dual-use chemicals are used only for permitted purposes, in effect. And each state party is under obligation to set up the necessary structures, to adopt the necessary measures, to make sure that that happens. Now, how they actually do it, the treaty doesn't say. It simply requires them to do it. The treaty also requires, in Article 7, each state party to, in order to fulfill its obligations under this convention, each state party shall designate or establish a national authority. So the treaty, in effect, says it's down to the national authority, appointed under the, in accordance with that article of the treaty, to fulfill that particular obligation. So the national authority is supposed, under the treaty, to ensure that the General Purpose Criterion is implemented.